This is CBC Winnipeg News.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. It feels like summer outside, and sure enough, meteorologist John Sauder has been tracking severe summer weather in western Manitoba. John?
Thanks, Janet. Yeah, in parts of western Manitoba, it has been an absolutely wild afternoon. This cluster of storms moved across the Saskatchewan-Manitoba border at about 3:30 this afternoon. You can see the intensity there. These are the current warnings and watches. The larger shaded area is a severe thunderstorm watch, and just moments ago it was extended out to the Winnipeg area to the east to be right along the western sections of the city. The yellow shaded area is now a severe thunderstorm warning. This is a live update, so that warning had just ended as I was talking there, and the yellow shaded area is now farther south. The storms I'm watching are the ones that moved through Hamiota and now just moving into Minnedosa. This is a storm that earlier this afternoon had a tornado warning on it, and then it was dropped and then reissued again. This one has a history of producing baseball-sized hail. It is just moving into Minnedosa. If you are in the path of that storm, you need to take cover immediately. And then there is a cluster of storms to the north, not quite severe criteria, but still some hail, some damaging winds, and some very heavy rains. I'll show you where this is all headed this evening and what's going to happen tomorrow in just a few minutes.
Thank you, John. A community plan envisions a new way to get pedestrians across one of Winnipeg's most prominent intersections. No, we're not talking about Portage and Main. The Osborne Village Biz has a blueprint for redeveloping that neighbourhood. And as CBC's Cameron McLean reports, it includes what would be a first for Winnipeg.
From this to this? Several Canadian cities have pedestrian scrambles, including Edmonton and Toronto. All traffic stops and anyone walking can cross in any direction. Now, a community group wants to see something similar here at the intersection of River and Osborne. Lindsay Summers is the executive director of the Osborne Village Biz.
We have a high pedestrian volume of people that live in this neighborhood, a high traffic of people that ride bikes, and we need to create a neighborhood that supports mobility for all kinds of people to move through the neighborhood safely and efficiently.
The idea is part of a plan to make the neighborhood friendlier to people on foot, bikes, and using transit. Some area residents, like Gabrielle Funk, support the idea.
It's a busy corner, so I feel like, and a lot of people use it for a lot of different reasons, and I don't know, even myself, I'll run across the street when I get the opportunity, even if the light is red.
Stacey Weber says the scramble could work in the summer.
It would fit in with the feel of the Osborne Village.
Yeah.
It would be fun. Yeah.
This driver says the intersection isn't the right spot for a pedestrian scramble.
I spent an hour and a half in traffic. Yeah. Do I want to see more traffic snarled? No.
Once considered one of Canada's most vibrant neighborhoods, the village has gone through a decade of decline. Many businesses have closed, storefronts sit empty. The plan suggests narrowing traffic lanes and making sidewalks wider. It also looks at dedicating curb lanes on both sides for buses and bikes during peak hours and allowing parking when traffic is slower.
As long as we have cars as the driving force coming through Osborne Village, it's not going to be a pleasant place to be. So there's some real opportunities here to create a neighborhood that people really want to be in, to spend time and money and social time connecting.
Area Councillor Sherry Rollins will bring this plan to Council later this month. The last time the city's plan for this neighborhood was updated was in 2006. Any decisions about changes to these streets would need to be approved by Council. Cameron McLean, CBC News, Winnipeg.
And of course, that wasn't the only intersection people were talking about today. Winnipeggers also had a chance to voice their opinions on that other place, redeveloping Portage and Main. An open house was held in a high-rise near the famous intersection. The goal is to gather feedback on various designs that have been put forward. People used stickers to indicate their feelings, red meaning bad, yellow meaning okay, green meaning go for it. One idea not on display would be allowing pedestrians to cross the street at street level. That option is not on the table, but that didn't stop some people from talking about it. Tom Sinclair helped create a virtual reality demonstration of a design that would open the intersection to pedestrians.
To give the people the experience to see how it would feel to cross Portage and Main, and show them those ways to design it in a way that's safely to cross the intersection.
Don Wardrop has lived downtown since the 1980s.
I was at first opposed to the idea of taking down the barriers, but with some of the new ideas, I really think it'd be a great idea to take them down and make it easy access for pedestrians.
Another open house will be held tomorrow in the underground concourse at Portage and Main. First, it got a new name, and today, the park on Lizzie Street in Winnipeg's Centennial neighbourhood received a land blessing. CBC's Brittany Greenslade shows us how a redevelopment of the park aims to bring people together in a safe place.
It's a central meeting point for many in the area.
It's good to have something close by within walking distance, a safe place for the kids and something for them to do.
And soon, Geji-Gobekwe Park will become an even bigger focal point through its redevelopment.
There's just so much life here. There's so much life in the land. And then the redevelopment of it, I can just see on here people playing basketball and music being played, and people really that live in this neighborhood really using this park.
Today, community members and leaders came together to bless the land ahead of the $384,000 revamp. It will include a new basketball court, a picnic seating area, and water fountain with a bottle fill station. Part of a dream Leslie Spillett had when the park was renamed after her 5 years ago.
I really want it to be a place where people can look at the sky and see the beautiful sky, and to connect with one another, to laugh, to play, to enjoy each other's company in a safe and peaceful way.
Spillett is a longtime advocate for missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls and works to help provide programs and services to Indigenous people in Winnipeg's inner city. While the park has a plaque in her honor, she didn't want her name on the sign. Instead, choosing her spirit name to represent the Indigenous community and land.
And I really think that it kind of, it really asserts our presence on this land, and we were always here, we've always been here, and we're always going to be here.
Dana Connolly grew up just a few blocks over and says having the Anishinaabe-Moan name displayed makes her and others feel seen and represented.
I feel like I belong here. Our people have been here since time immemorial, and so having a piece of space carved out in the inner city with our languages, with our words, makes it feel like home.
A home that will soon have a fresh new look. Brittany Greenslade, CBC News, Winnipeg.
People in the PAW are resting a little easier tonight. The last of 3 inmates who escaped from the PAW Correctional Centre on Monday night is back in custody. RCMP say 21-year-old Kelly Castell was arrested early this morning. He and another inmate were the subject of a police search that had police warning people in the PAW and Flin Flon to keep their doors locked. The other man was found yesterday. A third was caught Monday night, not long after they escaped. An emergency response team found Castell in the PAW early this morning. He ran, but a police dog led officers to his hiding spot. We have more tonight on the Manitoba physician who is openly criticizing how healthcare is being managed in this province. Dr. Dan Roberts went public yesterday saying the bureaucracy is bloated and too slow. The CBC's Ian Fraze joins us now live from the newsroom. Ian, what's compelling Dr. Roberts to speak out this time?
Well, he says he only gets progress on his ass when he goes out and speaks to the media. As we told you about yesterday, he had a column in the Winnipeg Free Press yesterday where he says he's waiting 9 months and counting on the resources for a new specialist to be approved. Today, we had the chance to speak with him, and he said that before the PCs created Shared Health in 2018, he'd get conditional approval for a proposal in a week or 2. Now it's months, even 2 years. He says the amount of bureaucracy from Shared Health to the regional health authorities to the surgical task force has slowed everything down, and program heads are feeling helpless.
They used to be empowered, they used to have a say, they used to be able to discuss things among themselves. Now I think they all feel like rats in an outhouse, right? That everything comes from above and none of it is good.
And Ian, Dr. Roberts is one of those program heads. He's the acting head of neurology at Health Sciences Centre here in Winnipeg. Why does he think things have changed so much?
Yeah, well, he's wondering if there's some political forces at play.
One has to start questioning why the process is so flawed, why it continues to operate this way. Is it just general incompetence, which I don't believe, or is there some intent behind this?
Roberts alleges that private companies are being prioritized, something the health minister is denying. Shared Health, for its part, says that assessing any proposal takes time, and it's an oversimplification to suggest that a complicated proposal could be approved in a week. Janet.
Ian Fraser reporting live tonight. Thanks, Ian. As of today, speed limits in Broken Head Ojibwe Nation have been lowered to 50 kilometers an hour. The leadership of the First Nation asked for that lower speed limit after a fatal hit and run on Highway 59 through the community last month. Signs went up today, reducing the speed there down from 80 kilometers an hour to 50. An Indigenous NHL player from Manitoba accepts an apology for a comment many people are calling offensive. During Monday night's playoff game, ESPN anchor John Anderson joked White Cloud's last name sounded like a brand of toilet paper. The Vegas Golden Knight player is a member of the Sioux Valley Dakota Nation west of Brandon. He's the first from his community to play for the NHL. Many have denounced Anderson's comment as a racial slur. White Cloud says he reached out to the sportscaster yesterday. He says Anderson acknowledged his remarks were insensitive, and White Cloud has accepted his apology.
With that comes an opportunity to allow not just John and myself, but everyone to learn from this incident, to move forward and make sure that these things don't happen again.
The Assembly of Manitoba Chiefs calls Anderson's comments disheartening and racist. It says First Nations names are sacred and carry the legacy of ancestors. Grand Chief Kathy Merrick is calling on ESPN and the NHL to do more to address prejudice in hockey. Let's check back in with meteorologist John Sauder. In severe weather like this, those watches and warnings can change quite frequently, can't they?
Yeah, as the systems move from west to east, so will the warnings. And now we've got Portage La Prairie in a severe thunderstorm warning. Not far west of us. I'll show you one little storm that's just west of Winnipeg right now, and we're going to talk about safety when storms happen like this too. So there's the main cluster, and you can see it growing and changing as we move on into the evening hours here. And we've got one that is growing near Winnipeg. So a lot of this rain is heavy rain, and a lot of this is giving up some hail as well. Now, if we zoom in on this, you can see this little cell to the west, right along Highway number 1, that has popped up in the last probably 20 minutes or so. And these storms, the ones moving through Minnedosa and on the way to Neepawa, those ones are producing some pretty serious hail. And as you can see, lots of lightning. So Gladstone is here, Neepawa is here, shower storm just moving out of that area. Another one just west of Neepawa. And then this cluster to the north has plenty of lightning in it as well. So that shaded area is the severe thunderstorm warning. This cell right here is the one that looks like it may be moving close to the Winnipeg area, or maybe just catch the northwest corner of the city, but it's that kind of evening. Now, when weather like this happens, and we have had some rotating winds under some of these storms this afternoon, you need to sort of have an emergency plan ready for your family, especially the young ones. Avoid windows, doors, and outside walls. Glass breaks. And with tornado winds like that, you don't want broken glass being thrown around. You're better off in an inside room. Smaller rooms are structurally stronger as well. You can also cover yourself with blankets or a mattress. And you know this, right? If you have a basement, that's the safest place to be. If you don't, the lowest floor possible is really where you want to be for tornado safety. As we move on into the evening hours and the overnight, we have that chance moving into the Red River Valley, but I think by about 9 o'clock, the energy is gone, and a lot of this is really dissipating and weakening on into the later evening. So partly cloudy overnight, sun cloud mix through Thursday. I've been watching a system to our south for Friday and Saturday. A couple of days ago, I took the showers out of the forecast. Here's why. We've got pressure to the north, high pressure, that is going to keep all of this rain to the south and to the west of us late Friday and on into Saturday. It just kind of sits there over North and South Dakota and Montana. So it doesn't look like that is going to move in on the weekend. So here's my forecast for tonight. 9 degrees, partly cloudy, evening thunderstorm, can't rule it out. We can see that to the west. 13 in the morning and then on into the afternoon, 24 degrees with a mix of sun and cloud and a northeast wind, Janet, at 20 to 25. You know, you look at the whole province tomorrow and it is a much quieter day, and we're going to see some milder weather even in northern Manitoba tomorrow.
Thanks so much, John. Check in with you later. Coming up, at what age should women start getting regular mammograms? Some experts want to lower the age when routine breast cancer screenings begin. See why after the break. You're watching CBC Winnipeg News. A medical task force in the United States recommends lowering the age when routine breast cancer screenings begin from 50 years old to 40. That's a significant change, one some provinces in Canada already follow, but Manitoba does not. CBC's Edel Musa reports.
Come, doggies, you are so good.
Natalie Quadrin says it was 2019 when she first felt a lump in her breast while taking a shower.
I was 46 at the time, so I wasn't particularly worried.
Neither was her doctor, she says, at first.
We do recommend mammograms from 50 onwards. You're only 46, so chances of you having breast cancer aren't very big.
Today, Natalie says she's living with terminal cancer, something she wishes was caught sooner.
I am a little angry. It's a bitter pill to swallow that I was too young to get a mammogram.
A panel of independent medical experts from across Canada recommend mammograms every 2 to 3 years for individuals between the ages of 50 and 74. Provinces like Ontario and Quebec follow that advice. In Alberta, where Natalie lives, the recommended age for breast cancer screenings was lowered last year to 45. But Natalie says
it's not standardized across Canada.
And some experts want it to be.
All women who are at average risk should be screened at 40, but especially Black, Asian, and Hispanic women whose breast cancers tend to start younger than in white women. So their peak incidence is in the mid-40s.
That's one of the reasons why a U.S. panel of medical experts has revised its advice on routine mammograms in that country. It now recommends those at average risk start getting regular mammograms at 40.
I do feel that Canada should take notice. What's in the line is that people's quality of life and people's lives are at risk.
Breathe. Canada's panel of experts say those who are younger than 50 who wish to be screened should have a discussion with their healthcare provider to decide if it's best for them. They also say that decision should be weighed against the potential harms, such as false positives and overdiagnosis. Idil Musa, CBC News, Toronto.
Here in Manitoba, routine breast screening for all patients starts at 50. Those with a family history of breast cancer may begin screening at a younger age. The wildfire danger in Alberta remains high. They are making some progress, but there are still 76 fires, 24 of which are out of control. A drop in temperatures and some rain are helping in central and south Alberta, but there is an elevated risk in the northern part of the province from hot, dry conditions. Some good news for residents of Evansburg, west of Edmonton. Evacuation orders there lifted today, but several more orders remain in place in surrounding areas. Crews from Yukon, Manitoba, BC, Ontario, and Quebec have arrived to help. Our province has sent 2 aircraft, 2 water bombers, including other assistance. And more from other provinces is coming in coming days. The federal government has unveiled big changes to Canadian passports. Starting this fall, most of us will be able to renew passports online. That includes submitting passport photos. The look and features of the passports will also be different.
The improved passport is going to have new, updated features, including state-of-the-art security features that include a polycarbonate data page. This is the same technology that's used to protect our currency and driver's license, for those who are wondering what it means. Additionally, passport holders' personal information will now be laser engraved instead of being printed with ink, which is going to make the data page more durable and resistant to tampering and counterfeiting.
The outside of the passport will still have the coat of arms, but with a slightly modernized look. Inside, historic images of Terry Fox and Vimy Ridge Memorial are replaced with images reflecting nature and what Canada calls the diversity of Canadians. The federal government outlined new plans today to provide more military training for members of the Ukrainian armed forces. The defense minister says Canada will begin training Ukrainian soldiers in Latvia as earlier as next week alongside Latvian troops.
We will deliver leadership development training for members of the armed forces of Ukraine, with the first of these training sessions to begin next week in Latvia. Led by a Canadian lieutenant colonel, the training will instruct Ukrainian junior officers on responsibilities in battle, the process of planning and orders, maneuver coordination, intelligence reconnaissance, planning, and executing.
The latest on the storms passing through our province and your daily lift when we return.
My forecast today was 23. We got to 26, and right now we're sitting at 25 degrees. South winds at 19. Remember, if it does start to rain, it drags that cold air out of the upper atmosphere, and we can lose 6 or 7 degrees in a flash. This yellow shaded area here is all a severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect west of Winnipeg. We're almost into the watch area, and I'm keeping an eye on that storm that is just west of the city. In the long range, we've got cloudy skies Friday and Saturday. Look at Mother's Day. It's 25 degrees in the sunshine, still warm heading into next week at 26 degrees. 23, still mainly sunny on Tuesday, and then we do start to cool off by mid next week, and it looks like that kind of weather is going to take us into the following weekend. So, some unsung heroes are getting long overdue recognition at the Giant Panda Research Center in Northwest China.
Such a cool job. Yeah. Such a cool job. Here's your daily lift. They're called panda nannies, and their work is critical to the conservation of mothers and babies alike. From pregnancy to birth and postnatal, these are the people who provide round-the-clock care, tending to the newborns who are helpless, weighing in at only 100 grams at birth. They actually need to go to their mothers and be breastfed every 2 hours. The center currently has 42 giant pandas, and if we have our way, we will introduce you to each and every one of them. Wow. Because the pictures from this, the panda centers that they have in China just are so spectacular. Yeah. Whenever we get the chance to show them, we do.
Yes, lots of pandas. And lots of hockey. Coming up on CBC, we've got the Leafs and the Panthers, and the Leafs are facing elimination.
I know a lot of Canadians are pulling for them, so let's see what happens. Good night.